Now must be the time. So that is the UN Secretary General saying COP27 must be the time for action. Let's get the thoughts of the UN climate change high-level champion, Nigel, who joins me now from the summit in Sharm el-Sheikh. Great to see you. So let's get your reaction, first of all, to those words from the UN Secretary General.
Well, I don't think you put it any clearer. We know from all the reports that action to date is woefully inadequate. The good news is that in Glasgow we had a significant uptick in ambition and a lot more engagement from what the UN calls non-state actors, so cities, businesses, financial institutions, and the signs are that momentum is building in the real economy, but not yet fast enough. So that's why the real focus here in Sharm el-Sheikh is on implementation of promises.
Yeah, of course, the problem is that governments around the world are distracted, aren't they, by other pressing issues, the war in Ukraine, cost of living, rising inflation, and all the rest of it. How difficult is it going to be persuading individual countries that climate change needs as much attention, if not more, at the moment?
It's mixed, you know. I mean, we had a similar kind of worry when COVID outbreak caused a delay in COP26. And we launched a big campaign to try and get as many people as possible to commit in a credible way, as the Secretary General says, to getting to net zero with short-term actions in June 2020. And actually, neither governments nor businesses nor cities took their eye off the climate ball, even though they're having to deal with COVID. And we're kind of seeing similar now, that there's still a lot of increase in ambition, a lot of focus. The flip side, and that's been driven partly by the high cost of volatile fossil fuels, making it clear that we need to speed up the transition for fiscal reasons. The flip side is that inflation means that there's less fiscal headroom, particularly in emerging markets. So the issue of how we mobilise the finance is really at the heart of the negotiations here.
Yeah. Rishi Sunak, of course, has done a U-turn. He will be at the summit, despite initially saying that he wouldn't be going. How much bridge building has he got to do, you think, as a result of that?
Well, first of all, I think it's great that he's going. I mean, the UK, until the first plenary session, held the presidency. Alex Sharma gave his closing speech, held in very high regard. I think the UK is seen as having done a very good job in this complex multilateral space. Of course, it's disappointing that Rishi Sunak originally decided it wouldn't go. Great that he's seen sense. He'll get to have a lot of bilaterals with world leaders. I think he'll also get to see just how important the UK's leadership has been and how much the world is looking to the UK to continue to lead. So there'll be a lot of people listening very carefully in his speech for the continued commitment to the 11.6 billion over 5 years of climate finance, for example. But I think although good that he's here, people are really waiting to see and hear what he says.
Yeah, he says he wants Britain to be a green energy superpower, but he won't increase onshore wind farms. And also the government is issuing out more licenses for North Sea drilling. I mean, that's a very mixed message.
It is a very mixed message. There's actually a growing momentum towards actually eliminating all new exploration oil and gas, including the proposal of a fossil fuel non-proliferation treaty. The worry, of course, will be that those will all end up being stranded assets. So even if people do invest, but we wait and see, this transition is going so quickly now on the energy side that there'll be no one to buy the product. If you look at electric vehicles globally, the percentage of market share is growing 68% a year, which basically means that the internal combustion engine is dead this decade. So we should be very careful environmentally, but also economically, of wasting money investing in new fossil fuel sources.
Yeah, it's interesting hearing Ed Miliband on Sky News earlier, reiterating Labour's promise that we could have 100% power from nuclear and renewables by 2030. I mean, that's only 8 years away. Do you think that sort of pledge, that sort of promise, that sort of ambition is achievable?
Yeah, you know, I think one weird thing's happened. We seem to have lost confidence in ourselves as innovators. And what we really need, and we're starting to see it from more and more businesses in particular, is more of a moonshot spirit, which says, if we set an ambitious target and really put ourselves to it, we can do it. What I see as a trend, when engineering-led companies and countries commit to 2050 as a net zero date, after a few years of really working hard on it, they all come back and say, hang on a minute, we can do that by 2040. You see it with Maersk, the biggest shipping company in the world, Mercedes, Sony, Aviva, Unilever, lots of very big companies are now aiming to get to net zero by the late 2030s. So I think that sort of ambition is possible. Remember, the UK Climate Change Committee, in their advice to Parliament for net zero 2050, have a scenario which shows how the UK could get to net zero in 2042. So I think we're seeing many people starting to revise their end dates for all sorts of technologies and for net zero based on growing confidence on the one hand, but also growing realisation of the damage on the other hand.
Yeah, we definitely need optimism and confidence, don't we? Nigel Topping, UN Climate Change High-Level Champion. We'll let you get back to the summit. Many thanks.
Great, thank you.